Hi friends, welcome back. Naji here. We are continuing a discussion on PyTorch, and in this video we will be discussing on tensors in PyTorch. So what is a tensor? So a tensor is a mathematical object that generalizes scalar, vectors and the metrics to higher dimension. So if you look on here, we can see it has a zero dimensional scalar is there. So it is just a number. Okay. If you talk about 1D, we can say it's a vector and we have an array of numbers will be there. And when it's come to two-dimensional, so it's a table of elements. And if it is come to 3D, we can say it's a multi-dimensional array. So few key characteristics are it has a rank will be there like 0D, 1D, 2D, 3D, etc. And there will be some shape will be there and a data type will be associated with a vector, okay, or tensor. Then specifically when come to the PyTorch, so the tensor is the basic building block in the PyTorch, so which is similar to NumPy but with a GPU accelerator support, and most of the operations that we can do with the NumPy can be done with the tensors also, and it is optimized for automatic differentiation, that is Autograd, and it's a core building block for the neural network, and it can run on CPU or GPU for accelerated computing. Okay, so this is basically about tensors in PyTorch. Now we can see how can we create tensors in PyTorch. For that I have my Visual Studio Code is up and running. So first we can import the torch, and let me check its version. Okay, now we can start creating tensors. So first we are going to create a scalar tensor. So for that it is very easy. I can use torch.tensor and I can pass a number here. So let me execute this. So when we execute this I can see this is a scalar. Tensor 7 is printing here. Then I can see its dimension is 0. Okay, and its value is 7. To get the value I can use the scalar.item. Okay, so this is how we create a scalar tensor. So if we come to the vector, okay, so it's an array, right? So here I am passing a number. Maybe I can pass like 7 and 9. So this is a vector that I am passing and I am converting into torch tensor. So for that I can use torch.tensor and I am printing it. I am printing its dimension also. So similar to that I can create a matrix. So matrix contains multiple vectors, right? So here we can see 7, 10, 10 is there, 8, 8, 9 is there, and we are converting that into torch.tensor. So let me print that. Okay, so here we will get a matrix tensor. Okay, so not always we will be creating something like this. So there is another way of creating. So for example I can create a random tensors. For that I can use torch.rand and I can pass the dimension here. So if I do that I will get something like this. Okay, now maybe I can pass like this. So here I will get 2 cross 6 will get, and maybe I can make it like 1. Sorry, yeah, it's fine. I can make it 1. So I will get 1 single array I will get. So based on that, based on the size that I am providing, it will create some random numbers. That is why we are calling the torch.rand. So if you want to create a tensor with full of zeros and ones, so there is a option for that. So torch is actually providing, if you use like torch.ones and if you pass the size, okay, so let me execute this. This will create a tensor with the value as a 1. So here we can see 1 1 1 1 1 1, all are 1. In a similar way I can create the torch.zero. So this will create a this will create a tensor with value 0. And if you want to check the data type, I can use the data type D type can be used, and this will give float. Okay, so this is how we create zeros and 1 torch. So next is I can talk about like the range of tensors or the tensors like. Okay, so there is another way of creating tensors. For example, I can use the torch.range and I can pass start and end, and also I can pass the step size. This will create a tensor similar to this. Okay, because here we can see that my starting number is 1 and ending number is 1 and my step size is 1. So it will increment like 1 by 1. Here we can see 1 2 3, and in that way it will be coming up to 10. For example, if I am putting like my step size as 2 here, then we can see first 1 3 5 7 and 9, because it is incrementing by 2. Okay. So there is another way. that is we can create a range of tensors, that is a torch.arange. Okay, so this is similar to range. So here also we can see we are printing like 1 to 10 and this is printing up to 9. Okay, and if I can give the range like 2, so this will create 1 3 5 7 9. Okay, so this is the one way of creating random or the range of tensors. Okay, so in next case, for example, if I want to create a tensor similar to this tensor arange. Okay, and I want its shape should be similar to tensor arange, but I want its values should be 1. Okay, for that I can use torch.one like. Okay, so this will take the shape of the tensor range, but the value will be 1. So I can just execute it. Here we can see 1 1 1 1 1 1 can be seen here, right? So to understand it better, maybe let me take tensor 0. I'm copying that, so let me paste it here. Okay, now executing. Okay, so here we can see it is taking the shape of the tensor 0, but its values will be 1. In a similar way, there is a torch.zero like is also available, and torch.randn like is also available. Those things you guys can explore. Okay. Okay, then the last thing that is I want to discuss about in this video is about the tensor data type. So whenever we create a tensor, by default its data type is maybe float. Okay, so for example I can say like tensor test. Okay, so let me copy and paste this. Copy and paste this. Now let's remove this, and I'm executing this. Okay, what we can do, we can just copy and paste. I can check the d type, and d type will be okay, so this is coming as an integer. Let me see. Okay, so this is coming as integer because we are passing say integer, but if we create something like random numbers, for example, let me copy this. Let me create a torch dot. I'm going to paste this. Let me take here. Okay, so I'm pasting this again. So here we can see by default it is giving the updating it. Let me copy and paste it here. Let me take the d type, and this is d type is the float. If I want to make it like integer, okay, so what I can do, I can say like d type, and here I can make torch dot int. Okay, so as soon as we put it like int, I will get values like I will this data type will be changed to int instead of the float. Here also I can select float dot maybe int 32 is there. Int 32 is there. Okay, and int 64 is there. So if I change this, I can switch between different data types. Okay, so that is all about in this video. So in our coming videos we can discuss more about tensors. Okay, so that is all about. Please do like and subscribe. Have a nice day. Bye bye.